The first exercise we're going to do as part of the trunk series is a simple crawl. Now the first way to do a crawl is simply by taking one limb off the ground at a time so that we always maintain 3 points of contact, which is simply one arm and one leg, one arm, other leg. This can be a bit too deliberate and forced though, so it can actually make people feel more uncoordinated. However, some people will need to start there as well, so it's just a matter of assessing the athlete and finding out what they're ready for. The next one is a slightly more natural, just alternating 2 points of contact, and you can go forward and back. There will be people that will simply struggle with the coordination of the crawl altogether. Then the next trunk exercise we'll go into from that is still going to be on all fours, but going into just lifting up one limb at a time. So there's a lot to be done in this all fours position in terms of trying to keep our hip, our trunk and our head all in a neutral kind of position. And then also making sure that we're not dropping towards the floor, either through our trunk or with our head. So we do need to keep some separation from the floor by just pushing it away from us. And then the first one we can do in this all fours position is simply lifting one hip up off the ground, or one leg, holding that position. I'll usually hold up to 10 seconds, and then you can come straight back down, and then alternate the other side. The thing you also want to look for in this position is if the person's body shifts sideways, so that as I'm going to lift my left leg up here, do you see them shift over to one side? The same thing, do they shift to the other side, or do they rotate at all, or do they drop to get in there? Which the drop will look more of a loser through their low back kind of position to try to lift, which sometimes can just be trying to lift too high, but other times it's the lack of control. If they can master either a hip lift or a single arm lift, where they're trying to get either limb into a straight line with the rest of the torso, then they can progress to an opposite arm and leg lift, where they come up, trying to keep that straight line and keeping that separation from the ground, not letting it drop into there, holding that position for up to 10 seconds, coming back down without losing the position either in the transition, and then coming up onto the other side. So the goal here should be that the arm, the trunk and the rear leg are relatively one straight line, and those 3 points of contact are maintained through the trunk. The next trunk exercise we can do from there is very much the same as the crawl, but we call it a creep, where we keep that same trunk position, but now the knees just get lifted about an inch or two off the ground, and then we take steps. Still trying to use that alternating pattern, so there's 2 points of contact as we step when possible. However, some people again will need to go to that 3 points of contact in this position. And the goal here is that the knee doesn't get further away, so we don't want to see people lifting their hips as they transition or slowly getting higher, as you'll often see them bring their knees in towards their elbows. The goal is to maintain that low position as you go both forward and back from there. The plank is a great exercise for teaching trunk control. However, people often need a little bit of help in learning the position that they should be in when they're in a plank. So this is where our stick can be helpful again, because we can use it to get those 3 points of contact again through our hips, our upper back and our head, so that we can come into a plank position and maintain the stick with those 3 points. Because we'll often see people's heads too far forward, their low backs drop down, pushing too far away, all sorts of things where they lose contact with the stick. Where those 3 points with an arch through the low back, a curve in the back of the neck, are the kind of ideal alignment that we're looking for. The amount of curve everyone has will be slightly different, but that's certainly the kind of setup we want to help people get into more. So then, once we're in that plank position, there's all sorts of different things we can do there. Some of the simple ones are obviously just holding that position, but we can do other things like lifting one arm up off the ground, which really challenges the rotary control through one side. We can also just lift one leg up and pause in that position as well. We can obviously come up into a high kind of plank and then transition back down into a low plank, trying to minimise how much sway we get and not losing that spine position at all as we go through it. More advanced stuff is where we'd start lifting opposite arm and legs up off the ground, but that's going to be too challenging for most people to start out with. The other things that certainly can be done would be slide type variations, which is simply easier than taking one arm off the ground altogether. The next exercise we're going to talk about is the push-up, which if we can't master the plank position, we're going to struggle in the push-up position. So if we can hold a plank with good alignment, then we can progress to a push-up, where it would simply be from that kind of high plank position we would be in before. Hands try and come down towards sternum level, getting down towards the ground and being able to push up from there. If that's too advanced for most people, the simplest thing to take it back to is come up into that push-up position, take the knees down to the ground and still keep that straight line through the trunk. The common mistake you'll see when people try to do a kneeling push-up is they rock back into this position and do it from there, versus being able to keep that alignment, come down and up straight from the knee. Once you can do a kneeling push-up, you can then usually progress to a full push-up with an eccentric lower, where we see how far down we can go, and then do a concentric up by dropping back down to the knee, and then you continue to move through that cycle, getting the knee straight, lowering down, coming to the knee and pushing up. You'll certainly find that if they're really struggling from the kneeling push-up, you won't be able to get down very far in a full push-up before they'll collapse somewhere, so they might need to spend more time working on that abdominal control and that upper body strength before they really master the push-up. The next series of trunk control exercises that we're going to talk about are different animal crawling walking patterns. So the first one is called a bear walk, which is in a higher position to start with. So about hip width apart or about shoulder width apart usually for the hands and the feet for this one, and then it's alternating sides again. Going forward and back with this type of pattern. Obviously there can be a mobility challenge to this for people as well, in terms of their hamstring length, but we're getting a lot of shoulder blade control as we go through and do a bear crawl kind of pattern. The next one in that series is an inchworm type pattern, which starts from a push-up position, where we then inch the feet forward, taking short steps with a straight leg in as close as we can, mirroring it with the hands, taking short steps forward. This can be done just forward in one direction, or you can go walking backwards as well, so bring the hands back in, and then you walk the feet back out. So all your crawls can be done forward and back, and with the inchworm the real challenge is trying to go beyond that basic push-up position and seeing how low down you can go and then come back from it, while again maintaining that trunk alignment. The next one is a much bigger progression from there. So this is where if we can't do a full push-up, these next two patterns would be far too advanced. So the first one is a Spiderman Crawl, where we start in that push-up position, and then we take one arm forward, bring the other leg up to the elbow and come down, and then we come up and alternate sides. So it's still an alternating pattern like all of our crawls, and you can do that going backwards as well. So really getting that knee to elbow basically as we go through that. The final exercise in the trunk control series is the dragon walk, which is an expansion of the Spiderman walk, as you'll still get into the same end position, but we start slightly differently. So we start still in a high push-up position, or a push-up position rather, but then we do come up first into this tall opposite arm and leg lifted position, step forward, come down, come right back up into that lifted position again, pause there, come down, and then lift up again. Then we can also try to reverse that, stepping down and then coming up and down again,